Here we are at Parker Automotive. Today we're working on a 2005 Toyota Rav4. Technician's going to tell you about what he found.
Okay, so this is a Rav4. The customer's complaint was that it was overheating. This person's had this overheating for an extended period of time. That being said, when I did a compression test, it was across the board erratic. The two outer cylinders have somewhat relatively close pressures, and they actually have some compression. The two center ones are the ones that are actually leaking. So what's happening most likely is the center, the gasket in the middle, is actually bleeding through. But it's not only bleeding through; they're having coolant loss, and what's happening is it's actually being burnt. The coolant's being burned. Okay, so I want you to stand over there so I can show. Now, you're just going to be looking for the smoke. So right now I should be up on dead center, and we're going to turn this on. So what I'm doing right now is
Can I show the tool real quick?
Yeah.
It's a pretty impressive tool from OTC, cylinder leakage tester.
So if you look over, you can hear it's leaking from here, but look at the radiator. You see...
I do. Let me get it on a...
It's actually blowing out of there. So now I'm just so they can see that there's a what you do. You see how now it stopped blowing.
Yep.
What you're going to do is I'm going to show them the trick real quick. It's an easier if you got some random stuff is just get a little bit of brake clean. It doesn't matter because it needs a head gasket, So you spray a little bit down into the cylinder. We know that it's leaking in between 1 and 2, but just to be case, we just spray it into the cylinders. What will happen is smoke will come out of the cylinder if it's leaking from that cylinder, or it'll push to the weakest point. So let's just go this.
Will it come out of the radiator again, or now the cylinder?
Point towards the radiator so I can show you. Okay, I'm adding pressure right now. Oh, hold on. Right now I have about 30 pounds, so I'm going to put in about 100.
And here it comes. And that's the radiator filler neck.
Yeah, so what's happening is...
When I do that, you can see the smoke
Yeah,
better.
see, if you don't put nothing in there, it won't bleed out. What's actually coming out of that, you see, look over here. You see, now it's blowing out the number 3.
Oh, and number 3 had the misfire.
Right, a random
It
misfire.
had a
Now go look at the
303.
radiator cap. Now see,
so you can see it coming out of both areas.
Right, what's happening is it's actually able to push the mist from the brake clean through the system, and that's what causes that smoke. So it's an easy test.
This customer a few years ago admitted to having the bars and seals leak in the
system,
the radiator. They put it in there for a leak, and we said all along, man, you might have damaged your head gasket.
Right,
we recommended that they come flush it a few times. They did not.
Right, well, see, what happened was originally the customer came with a complaint, and then about that their car was overheating and leaking coolant for about 6 months. They came in and we told them they needed that they're going to need a radiator, not to do it. And I think it took them another 3 months before they actually came back to do the radiator. At that time, I did do a compression test, and the compression was about $1.90, but they were all relative in the same area, or about $1.80, but they were all relative. And their first compression stroke was about 3/4 to almost over half, over 3/4 of what the compression stroke would be. And that's what you're looking for. Now, when it's way down, or you got 2 cylinders that are low, especially if they're joining cylinders, and then you have 2 outer ones, if it's a 4-cylinder, that are relatively the same, you can count on that the inner part of the gasket leaked. So this one right here, that's the call. The call's that. It's just easier to do it the way I just did it. Like you can see, it's been burning coolant for a little bit. I actually have
Can I give a tip of the day?
Yes. Here's one that's washed. This is called washed because there's been water boiling in there and causing it the steam clean thing, and that's why all the other ones are black.
Parker Automotive tip of the day from the service writer. I will say, as I tell a lot of customers, if you have a coolant leak, Handle it quickly before you damage your motor. Do not dump in a $5 bottle of sealer and forget about it, because guess what? It may not happen in a year, it may not happen in 2 years, but eventually you're going to need a motor.
Right.
And that is exactly what happened to this customer.
Right. Well, no, not even that. They put seals and leak in here for a radiator that was leaking.
Right. They had a
didn't put it
radiator
in there
leak.
for a head gasket.
Now,
No.
that is my tip of the day. I'm saying you got a radiator leak, don't dump that stuff in there.
Right, water pumps
You're going to need a
leaking,
motor
don't dump
eventually.
in there. It's
So,
better to do. It's cheaper. It's cheaper in the long run to do the job the right way than
right.
it ever will be
And what's
in the
a shame
long
is this car would have lasted for many, 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 many years to come had they just done the radiator when it was first started leaking.
run. Yep.
All right. End your video.
All right. Thank you for watching. Parker Automotive. God bless you and God bless America. Stay safe.